Regular meeting to order for Monday, November 3rd, 2025 at 6:30 PM. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moving on, item 3 on the agenda, roll call. Administrator Polfus.
Councilmember Ball,
Present.
Councilmember Jensen,
Present.
Councilmember Maroney,
Present.
Councilmember Scott,
Present.
Mayor Rogenkamp.
Present. Thank you. Item number 4, open forum. The city council invites residents to share new ideas or concerns related to city business not already on the agenda. However, individual question and remarks are limited to 3 minutes per speaker. No city council action will be taken, although the council may refer issues to staff for follow-up or for consideration at a future meeting. The mayor may use discretion if speakers are repeating views already expressed or ask for a spokesperson for groups of individuals with similar views. Speakers should state their name and home address at the podium before speaking. Is there anybody here that wishes to address the council in open forum? Please come forward.
Go ahead. You sure? Okay.
State your name and your address, please.
Bill Toff, 31877 Greenstein Drive, Breezy Point. And I see the large agenda tonight, so I'm going to cut my comments by 2/3 and just go right to the stats. This year, there have been 18 police call complaints concerning the breaking of ordinances and courtesies that the signs prohibiting take place down in the disc golf expansion. We have sent 120 pictures of pictorial evidence of alcohol, cannabis, all kinds of cannabis use, tobacco use being consumed out in the expansion. These pictures only come from the expansion holes. In closing, it's just been another banner year to us taxpayer residents living on the only publicly owned disc golf course lined with residential homes in the state of Minnesota. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that wishes to address the council in open forum? Please come forward, state your name and your address.
My name is Amanda Kostreba. We live on Aztec Circle. We were first off curious if the city is aware of the Maple River Cuyuna transmission project that's coming through.
Yes.
Okay.
I am aware of it.
Okay.
Whether or not the full council is aware of it, that I'm not sure of. But
Okay.
I am aware of it, yes.
Okay, so we were curious if you were aware because we recently learned about it, likely because what came in the mail was junk or looked like junk, and so we went to this open house that happened last week to learn that we could potentially be losing our home, property, whatever the case might be. So we were curious if, after we've reached out to several people around us, if there's any way the city is able to make it more public and not look like junk coming in the mail so people are aware of what's happening and what they could potentially be losing.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and what you received did not come from the city.
Right.
Correct.
We were curious if the city is able to take further action to show people of the city how they may be impacted by this, because I don't know that it's
Correct.
very well advertised
I think there'll be a lot more coming in the future about it, so.
from the city.
Well, from everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't just a Breezy Point thing, this is an area thing, so I think there'll be more coming. This is just the starting point.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and what we were told last week, or whenever that was, the most recent open house, was that the final route would be determined by this spring. And so hoping to somehow get the word out before then, what we were told was basically the louder you are, the better off with complaints and things like that. So that's what we were curious about.
Great, thank you for your
Thank you.
comments.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else that wishes to address the council in open forum? I'll ask again, is there anybody who wishes to address the council in open forum? Hearing none, open forum is now closed. Moving on, item 5, consent agenda. Consent agenda tonight is 5A, approved claims totaling $279,728.73 for checks 140637 to 140716 and e-checks 4023 to 4038. 5B, approve city council meeting minutes from October 6, 2025. 5C, approve purchase of trailer for police department. 5D, approve law enforcement labor services union number 359 agreement for 2026, 2027, and 2028. 5E, authorize city administrator to pursue land acquisition. 5F, approve cost share agreement with Crow Wing County for Bushman Road project. 5G, approve liquor license renewals for 2026. 5H, resolution number 30-2025, approve donation of park bench. 5I, resolution number 31-2025, approve donation from Widseth. And 5J, approve pay application number 4 for 2025 County Road 11 sanitary sewer extension project. This is the consent agenda as read. Is there any comments or anything from the council? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as read?
So move.
I have a motion from Councilmember Maroney. Do I have a second?
Second.
Councilmember Jensen seconded it. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Moving on to item 6, public hearing. 6A, public hearing on general obligation, street reconstruction bonds and street reconstruction plan. I'm going to turn it over to Administrator Polfus to get us started.
Yes, thank you. As a part of the bond issuance process, the council must hold a public hearing to consider a resolution giving preliminary approval for the general obligation bond for the Bushman Road project. Proper notice of the hearing was in the newspaper. We have Rebecca Kurtz here from Ellers tonight to answer any questions you may have about the bonding process. Following the public hearing, we're looking for a resolution adopting the street reconstruction plan and approve the issuance of the general obligation street reconstruction bonds.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Rebecca.
You'd go ahead and introduce yourself for us, please?
Yes, Rebecca Kurtz. I'm a municipal advisor at Ellers and work closely with Todd Hagan, who apologizes that he was not able to be here, so you got stuck with me instead tonight. But as introduced, what you have before you is to consider and take action on a street reconstruction plan, which is the first step in securing financing for the road project. With the plan, a lot of it is statutory language and requirements that outline what the law allows. But a couple things I want to call your attention to is the number in the street reconstruction plan is the maximum that you could bond for. So you see under the financing section, it is our understanding that the project is estimated to be $3,690,000, roughly, a little bit, some 358. But with that, it is being anticipated that there will be a $150,000 cash contribution from Ideal Township, along with the tax levy and the sale of the general obligation bonds. And so while we anticipate that the bond size to finance this project will be closer to $3.22 million, the plan is set up to have a maximum bond amount of $3,350,000. And that is only to allow for if there are changes or a little bit of fluctuation when the bids come in. So what you approve, or if you do choose to approve this plan, it sets in place the maximums, and then there would be separate action when you actually call for the sale of the bonds, and that would be sized appropriately based on the bids that do come in. With this plan, you will also see that it is a 5-year plan that is tying out to state statute that is 5-year street reconstruction plan. At this point in time, the only project that is authorized under this plan is the 2026 Bushman Road project. And at some point in the future, in the next 5 years, if you do have another project, you always have the ability to come back and amend the plan. So the action tonight, there is a public hearing on the plan. After that public hearing, you do have a resolution to consider that would approve the plan and then authorize, from the general standpoint, moving forward with the bond issue. There is a 30-day reverse referendum period, and so that referendum period ends on December 3rd. And then at this point, it is anticipated that on December 8th, there would be a special meeting of the council to consider the construction bids and then also call for the sale of the bonds, which again would be the action that would appropriately size the final bond issue and start that piece of the process. I will pause and I'm happy to take any questions you may have.
Council, any questions? I'm not hearing any, so thank you for the overview.
I'll be here if during the public hearing anything comes up.
Excellent,
So,
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. So basically, next, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go ahead and open it up for, the public hearing. So we'll give a little overview of how that will work, so everybody's familiar with it. But basically, it is, the city council invites residents to voice their comments and concerns related to the public hearing agenda item. Individual marks are limited to 3 minutes per speaker. If someone before you has already made your point, feel free to simply state your agreement instead of repeating the same comments. And speakers should state their name and home address at the podium before speaking. So with the directions now being read, I am now going to open the public hearing on resolution number 32-2025 of adopting a street reconstruction plan and approving the issuance of our bonds for the Bushman Road construction project. Is there anybody here that wishes to address the council in this the public hearing? If you would like to please come forward, state your name and your address. And again, you'll be limited to 3 minutes for your comments.
Bill Toff, 31877 Green Scene Drive, and I'm also speaking for the Breezy Point Alliance. Ms. Kurtz, I'm sorry, the last paperwork I have, it was a 4.475. Is this new dollar amount going to be 15-year duration?
Just to confirm here, as we have run different scenarios, yes, it is a 50.
So 15 years, and what's the average yield on that, and what's the average life?
I do not have all of those details with me. We are looking at, interest rate at about just under 4%.
See, she should have that information for you guys to make an informed decision. Today, the secondary market and general obligation, AA-rated Minnesota paper is 2.9 to 3.15. Now, there's some interest rates that are a little bit lower and some are a little bit higher. So I don't know why we aren't looking at just issuing a 10-year piece of paper at 3%. Given the numbers that I had here, we were gonna save $300,000 plus if we were to go that route instead of tranching it like this. I have sold municipal bonds and stocks for 35 plus years. I'm quasi-retired now, but I've never seen anything like this, in all honesty. Maybe there's a good reason. I was never involved in the underwriting, and perhaps there is a good reason for it. But I think the interest rate should be right around 3%, not 3.8 or 3.9, whatever it is. Rates haven't changed much since this came out at the end of August. I guess I would like to have that information. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that wishes to address the council in the public hearing right now? I will ask again. Is there anybody that wishes to come forward during the public hearing? I'll ask one more time. Is there anybody here that wishes to address the council in the public hearing? Not hearing others, I will now close the public hearing. All right. So council, you've heard the information and overview. Do you have any questions, any comments before we move forward? Councilmember Jensen.
I mean, I would like to have
Mr. Toff's question answered. I mean, that is a pretty legitimate question and should be provided with an answer. And I find that a little unsettling that the underwriting firm does not have that information.
Okay. Other comments from the council?
Mr. Mayor, my one question I have is if we do approve what we have in front of us tonight and the bids do not come back favorable, we do not have to proceed with the selling of the bonds and the calling of the bonds.
Correct, that's how I understand it, yes. So only if we approve, a bid, yes, then we
And-
would call for the bonds.
And also if the bonds don't come back at a favorable rate, we can also withdraw? Maybe.
Rebecca, would you want to come?
That's a question we'll have to ask.
So to clarify the action tonight, you're approving a plan which would provide the authorization to move forward with a debt issue at the future. With that, it does not obligate you to do anything. It only, if you approve the resolution tonight in this plan, it only gives you the authorization to issue debt at a future time. With that, again, there is a 30-day reverse referendum period, and so part of the reason this is being done at this point in time is that it would give time to get through that 30-day period prior to when bids would be opened. And so that 30-day period ends December 3rd. Then after that point, we would look at the construction bids. My coworker or myself would be back up here then for the December 8th meeting, assuming bids were something that you wanted to move forward with and wanted to issue debt for it. At that point in time, there would be a final bond, proposed bond structure that you could then move forward with to call for the sale of the bonds officially. So tonight is only approving the bond, or only approving the street reconstruction bond with the authority, street reconstruction plan with the authority to issue bonds. The bond approval, you would call for the sale December 8th, and then there would be the offering document, and we are proposing that bonds be sold on February 2nd of 2026. And at both points in time, either on December 8th, when the bids are called for, you would not need to move forward with a bond sale. And then if bids did not come in at a point where you would like on February 2nd, you also would not be required to award the bond sale. I do want to comment one bit on the structure. This is set up as a competitive sale that would be marketed nationally, and this is something that we've had discussions with on staff, but it would be something we can change if directed to do so. With that, we are required, or the way that that works on a competitive national sale is in $5,000 increments. And so that is one of the ways that the bonds are being structured. With that also, I will say we do add some cushion because as discussed, we would not look at selling until February 2nd with 3 months. There's a lot of question there. So we personally would prefer to have estimates high, especially in the plan because it's a maximum, and then continue to narrow them in as we get closer with the actual bid amount, and then when we get closer to the sale date.
Any other questions, or does that help answer some of the, or clarify?
And to confirm, Mr. Mayor, the rate is set at what date? On the February 2nd
The
date?
rate would
once
be
we-
set at the February 2nd date.
When we would actually go to issue.
Because at that point it went for sale and.
Yes,
Right.
so there would
Bid on
be
what
a refined estimate on December 8th at that special meeting if you chose to call for the sale of bonds, but the actual rate would be set on the February 2nd date, and you would have the opportunity at that point to either accept the bids or to reject the bids based on your comfort with that rate.
And in your past experience, when is the best bidding time for rates?
You know, you mean as far as like time of year and month? You know, really, I don't think I have an answer for the best time of year. It really depends on the market. One of the things, and where the market is at, I will say one of the things that we do to try and control isn't the right word because we can't control the market at all. But one of the things we will watch is as we start to set and refine if we are going to sell on February 2nd or whatever date ultimately that ends up being, looking at other sales that are happening at that day or during that day. And if there were, for example, 15 other sales of about $3 million happening on that day, one of our responsibilities as your municipal advisor would be to have that discussion and say, you know, it's going to be a tougher sale because there's a lot of competition, sales exactly like yours. Maybe we want to look at a different date where there is not as many sales. And so those are discussions that as we get closer to the actual sale date, we will be having with staff.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments?
I mean, I would like to see council, I would like to see an answer to Mr. Toff's question and that be provided to council because I think it's a legitimate question. And Ellers should have been able to answer that, in my opinion, and I would like an answer.
Okay.
I think it's a legitimate question.
As regard to the interest rate,
Interest rates, yes, absolutely.
which we won't have a solid feel for what those are till we get closer to that time. And we still have the ability to not move forward if we're not comfortable with the interest rates on the bonds.
Well, then at that point, I mean, I still think it's a question, even though the rate is not set. I think Mr. Toft had a legitimate question, and I think based on his question tonight, he should be provided an answer as well as council.
So what we're asking is can we get an answer
I
to that
absolutely can
regarding
provide
with the
that,
interest
yes.
rates? Okay.
I can.
Okay, and can you provide that then to staff?
Absolutely.
So then staff can provide it to council and she can also provide it to the constituent who had the question.
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Yep, that works,
Okay.
perfect.
Excellent, all right. Thank you. Are there any other questions? Okay, thank you. All right, so again, you kind of heard the explanation of the resolution and what we're agreeing to do here. This is really just the starting point in the process, and there's a lot of places along the way that we still have the ability to say, nope, we're not moving forward because we don't like the percentage, we don't like the bids, a lot of different things. So, I think there's opportunities for us. This basically, what this resolution does is start the process. Gets us moving in the process of going down the road of getting these issued. And we need to do it with this because it needs to have that 30-day reverse referendum. And so it stretches the timeline out a little more because of that, but you have to have that in place in order to do it this way. So we're at resolution number 32, 2025, adopting a street reconstruction plan and approving the issuance of general obligation street reconstruction bonds. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution as written?
So moved.
I have a motion from Councilmember Jensen. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Councilmember Maroney. Further discussion?
I want to just continue to go on the record. As people know, I've been, you could say, the only member of this council who has given any critical view whatsoever on this project, on the amount of money that it involves, on the fact that we really haven't even considered or looked at any alternative ways to improve Bushman Road to increase safety and to increase the efficiency of traffic flow. We've just accepted, the grand plan of all grand plans entirely along the way. And I'm sorry, if I'm an outlier as an elected official, then I guess I am, but that's not how I view my representation of our taxpayers and of our community. We need to do different, we need to do better than just simply moving forward with a project that, in my honest opinion, continues to be way overkill. But again, you know, short of allowing opportunity and time to explore alternates, to recognize ways that we can go about effectively improving the overall functionality of Bushman, as we all understand, it needs a level of improvement at arguably a lot cheaper cost. I guess that's really all I'm gonna continue to say about it. You know, we're seeing double-digit tax levy increases proposed already. Looking at this debt levy schedule as presented, yeah, I have a lot of concern about our residents, the taxpayers, and the overall effect and impact that this is gonna have on the debt burden for the city. I wouldn't mind understanding and knowing from some of the council members that have been on the council a little longer than myself, where did this idea of planning for improvements like this go to where we're not having to incur this extent of debt? It doesn't take much to look at the debt schedule, over $1 million in interest potentially. I don't know how that sits with other people, but when you think about a little over $3 million debt issue and over $1 million in interest that all of us as taxpayers are paying, it doesn't seem right to me.
Any other comments from council?
I know I can speak. I was part of the co-op road project. I can't remember what the official title was that started, I think 4 or 5 years ago, that we started looking at how Bushman can be improved. We actually worked with joint ventures with Ideal and Pequot, and we looked at the alternatives. We looked at potentially going up to a county road standard. We worked with the county to see if the county would be willing to take over the road if we upgraded to their standards. What we heard back from community was that was too much to ask of the community. And we did not have a full commitment from the county that if we built it to the county standards, that they would even take it on. We have looked at the safety of Bushman. We've been trying to repair it as best as possible throughout the years. I want to say the council passed, and Mr. Zerdin can help me out. I want to say it's been looked at since I think 2004, but and maybe I've got the year wrong on that, but it's been in the works for over 20 years. But unfortunately, no previous council has ever taken action to finalize those up until, like I say, about a 4 or 5 year ago that we started looking at this project. We have looked at alternatives. We've looked at how we can make it safer at the most effective cost, and this is the ultimate where it is. I know you disagree with that, but we've had multiple engineers look at it. We've had Bolton and Mink, we've had others, and we've just concluded that this is the best project moving forward with it. I know you weren't part of the previous city councils that we started with that project. It was under different administrations at that point. But we've worked closely with other ventures to look at the best alternative for this, and that's where we're at with this. Could we have done better as a city council 10, 15, 20 years ago to start planning for this? Absolutely. But this is where we're at now. This is why we created the comprehensive road upgrade project, is because we don't want to be caught with this situation again. Is it unfortunate that where we're at? Yes, it is, but it has been on record that it is unsafe as it is today, and so improvements need to be done. And we have spent a number of hours, a number of financial dollars to investigate that, and that's where we're at today.
And I would echo that, being on the council before when we first started the project. I wasn't in at the very beginning, but pretty close. And we did spend a lot of time looking at different options. How can we do this? How can we make this work? How can we do it in the best interest of the citizens so that we can get a safe road? And I agree with Councilmember Maroney. This is the best option moving forward to get this road rebuilt up to standards and be a safe road for people to use. Is it a big chunk of money? It is, and I don't deny that. And do I like the fact that we're adding that debt? No, I don't. But we're in a situation now that we need to do something about that road and it needs to move forward. And so this is the best option we have available to be able to do this. So, yeah, I wish there was a different scenario and an easier way to get it done too, but there's not. And I agree that there's been a lot of talk over the years about Bushman Road. It continues to be talked about. And so I think it's important that we just understand that this has to happen to move forward. And I agree with Councilmember Maroney too. We're putting in place something so that we don't put somebody else as a council 20 years down the road or 15 years down the road in the same position that we're in right now. And that's no blame to anybody in the past or at all. It's just, it's the way it works. Things change, times change. Where we were 20 years ago as a city and where we are today are two totally different situations. The amount of traffic, the amount of people, the people who live here, it's all changed. And what happens sometimes is that it takes a little while to catch up. And that's what we're trying to do right now. And that's an unfortunate situation, but that's where we're at. So I wish there was a different scenario too, but I still feel that we're doing what's best overall for the citizens of the city to get that road upgraded, improved, and safe so that it can be there and we can plan then for the future so that we're not facing the same kind of thing again. All right. Any other comments? Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the resolution passing, we have a motion.
No, I
We
don't
didn't
think
get
we
a
have a
mo-
motion.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we do. We have a
did.
motion in a
Oh,
second.
sorry.
We had discussion.
Still have discussion. My
There
apologies.
was a lot of discussion. That's okay.
Which is good.
Oh, all right, so resolution number 32, 2025, adopting a street reconstruction plan and approving the issuance of general obligation street reconstruction bonds. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Abstentions? The motion passes. All right, moving on, 6C, public hearing to assess delinquent sewer bills. Jeanette, would you like to give us a little overview?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So with this, each year the city certifies delinquent sewer utility charges for collection with the property taxes in the following year. This ensures that the city will receive unpaid sewer services that we've provided to these property owners. We sent out, according to state statute, we're supposed to give notice to these property owners with the delinquent accounts. Those letters were sent out on October 8th, giving them time to pay before we assess. The assessment date is gonna be the last week in November, so if they pay prior to that, of course, they will not be assessed then. So we have a total of 14 properties to certify to the 2026 property taxes. And with that, we would need a resolution. And by approving that resolution, you would be approving the certification of these 14 accounts to the property taxes to be paid in 2026.
Thank you, Jeanette. So as a part of this, we do have another public hearing as a part of this in case there are constituents that want to come forward and address the council regarding their delinquent sewer bills. So at this time, again, the city council invites residents to voice their comments and concerns related to the public hearing agenda item. Individual remarks are limited to 3 minutes per speaker. If someone before you has already made your point, feel free to simply state your agreement instead of repeating saying comments. Speakers should state their name, home address at the podium before speaking. So with that, I will open the public hearing. Is there anybody here that wishes to address the council in public hearing regarding delinquent sewer bills? I will ask again, is there anybody here that wishes to address the council in public hearing to address the delinquent sewer bills? I will ask one more time, is there anybody here that wishes to address the council in the public hearing to assess on delinquent sewer bills? Hearing none, the public hearing is now closed. So moving forward, we do have a resolution 33/2025 placing delinquent sewer charges against specified properties in front of us. There is a clarification to make on the resolution that's been put before us. Two of them, PID 101607003 and PID 102105558 have now been paid in full. So those two are now at a zero balance, all right? Just so everybody's aware of that when we go to pass this resolution. So with that being stated, do I have a motion to pass resolution 33/2025, placing delinquent sewer charges against specified properties, with the changes that were so stated?
So move.
I have a motion from Councilmember Maroney. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second from Councilmember Ball. Any further discussion?
One point of clarification. While in the agenda, it labels it as Resolution 33-2025. In the packet, the cover is listed as 32-2025. So just a clarification, this is for 33-2025.
Thank you. Yep, you are correct. So. All right, so yes, this would be for 33-2025. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
All right.
Opposed? Abstentions? The motion carries. Thank you, Jeanette. All right, moving on, seven, business item. 7A, approve pay application number 13 for City Hall facility. Administrator Polfus.
Yes, thank you. Tonight we're asking for approval of pay application number 13 to High Tech. I spoke with them and there should be one more pay application for council approval after this.
Okay. All right. All right, do I have a motion to approve pay application number 13 for City Hall facility?
So move.
I have a motion from Councilmember Maroney. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Councilmember Jensen. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Abstentions? Motion carries. 7B, wastewater treatment facility results. Nick?
Good evening, council. My name's Nick. I'm with Woodseth. In conjunction with city staff, we prepared a wastewater facility plan to proactively assess the city's wastewater flows, treatment plant capacity, and infrastructure. Due to our findings, we shared this executive summary with recommendations and put the submittal of the facility plan on hold for now. The primary concern from city staff was the available winter storage. We collected surveyed field data in the winter of 2024 and the spring of 2025 to analyze the in-place volume of the ponds. Based on our calculated in-place volume and projecting recorded winter influent from the last 20 years by the city, it's anticipated the treatment facility will reach 85% capacity in 2036. That 85% capacity threshold is kind of the baseline for recommended expansion of your secondary treatment ponds. So the city staff requested an ERU, which is equivalent residential unit capacity for the facility. We looked into that. The city reported roughly a growth of 22 ERUs per year since 2010. With the reported growth over the last 15 years and the increase in influent not lining up the way that we would anticipate, and I get that there's some factors in this community that are different with seasonal versus non-seasonal, things like that. We don't necessarily recommend using ERUs as a forecasting method for this facility. However, conservatively, we'd recommend a range of 60 to 80 ERUs roughly before you're gonna start getting closer to that 85%, where it's recommended to start down the path of an expansion project. So, in recommendations, to better predict what improvements will be required, we would recommend installing 2 mag meters on the 2 influent lines going into the facility. The one main, and then the one coming from the camping cluster. We provided a rough installation cost, including engineering, of $70,000 to $90,000 to install 2 manholes and 2 mag meters. Those mag meters are electronic flow meters that will record influent data into the facility. Gives a very accurate representation of the amount of influent that's actually going into the ponds rather than a measuring technique, which is also fairly standard. A second recommendation would be to install benchmarks at each of the ponds, so city staff has a more efficient and easier and more accurate way to measure depth of the ponds. Any questions?
Council, any questions for Nick?
I think they're good recommendations that bear merit, and we should be doing that so we can accurately forecast when we have to expand the current system.
Right, no, I agree. I would think that staff will take these recommendations under consideration and be able to bring some action items back to the council in a future time, so we can take a look at that. But I agree, that's the whole purpose of having the study done, is to find out what we can do to better calculate and estimate what's going on. It's good to hear kind of where we're at as far as when we think we're gonna meet that threshold. And I know that there's a rate study and other things being put into place, and we'll continue to take a look at how we get ourselves prepared for that, cause that's coming, so. All right, any other questions from council, comments?
Additionally, the facility plan we did put together and have some reviews with city staff on that. The timeline for submitting that is just not necessary right now, so we have that, and the city has that, and once we go forward and get a little better data into the future, we'll be prepared to submit that and update it with the data that's recorded, so.
Perfect, excellent, thank you, Nick, for that extra added comment. Perfect, all right, sounds good. Well, there's no action to be taken, but appreciate the information on that. And like I said, I'm sure staff will be coming back to us in the future with some things as we move forward off those recommendations, so. Thank you, Nick. Moving on, 7C, review and approve 2026 fee schedule. Administrator Popos.
Yes, thank you. Every year, the city sets a fee schedule which authorizes the city to charge its residents for services provided. Staff met to review the schedule in depth, or the previous year's schedule in depth, and propose recommendations to the Finance Committee. The Finance Committee then met to discuss the recommendations and approve, and recommended to approve as presented in the packet tonight. If the council wishes to see additional changes, we will include those for approval in December. Otherwise, staff recommends approval of the fee schedule as presented.
All right. Council, hopefully you had a chance to review the schedule. It was looked over and there were some changes made, some from staff recommendations, some from committee recommendations. But we're bringing this back to you. So I don't know if there's any discussion, excuse me, questions or comments on the schedule as it was presented.
Yeah, I've got a question, actually a couple. So just to clarify, the charges proposed for 26 then are the amounts otherwise highlighted in red? Is that
Correct.
correct? So noticing the short-term rental license, it's a doubling of the fee. Just interested to know what's behind that. Why such an increase?
Yep, so we kind of compiled our surrounding communities to see where our fees fit within there. Most communities charge between $500 and $750. A main driver for the $750 is the addition of a safety and structural inspection, which will be performed by our building inspector, and that costs $250. So that fee is meant to encompass the $250, the time spent with staff, and we're kind of beefing up our application process too, which will take more time. So I would say comparable to surrounding cities, the inclusion of the inspection and then additional staff time to process those applications.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from council? Okay, hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the 2026 fee schedule as presented?
So moved.
I have a motion from Councilmember Ball. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilmember Maroney. Oh, Councilmember Jensen, sorry. I thought I was, I'm getting used to the mics yet, guys, sorry. From Councilmember Jensen. Excuse me. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The motion carries. All right, 7D, review and approve special assessment policy. Commissioner Repolos.
Here we are again.
Yep.
At the last city council meeting, the council directed staff to prepare a policy language that includes a shared cost between the city and property owners, establishes a maximum assessment cap, and considers the inclusion of a special benefit appraisal. After discussing with legal counsel, he advised us to not include the special benefit appraisal requirement unless the council intends to complete an appraisal every year for every project. The council, however, may choose to order a special benefit appraisal on a case-by-case basis whenever they choose. Staff would typically recommend this when a project is more complex or controversial or has higher costs associated with the project. The council retains the flexibility to modify this policy at any time, even after approval tonight. So staff recommends approving the policy as presented, allowing adjustments to be made in the future as we have experience with the implementation and identify any issues that arise.
Thank you. Council, any thoughts, comments?
I guess I would just as soon like to see the special benefit language as a part of the policy. If I remember, as council has discussed this, that's been a pretty key part to how we think about assessments and understanding of the process where, you know, all it takes is for one property owner to challenge the amount of the assessment, and the city's going to be likely doing an appraisal to understand if the amount of the assessment is within sort of those tolerances of benefited increase in property value to the property owner. I can, in some ways, appreciate maybe why we wouldn't want it in there, but I see it serving future councils and those impacted by road improvements very well down the road, just eliminating any question whatsoever as to the reasonableness and validity of the amount of the assessment being proposed.
Okay, other comments?
I agree with Councilmember Scott. I mean, can we put in generic language at the discretion of council, you know, just
Yep.
being in there?
That's included.
Yeah.
It's in there
Yep.
already.
So you guys could order me to do it tomorrow, and I could do it for the projects. Legal counsel advised to not require it unless you're going to do it each year. Otherwise, because I think I'd presented like it'd be done every 3 to 5 years.
Right.
It's under item C on page 101 of the packet.
But he recommended against that in the case that someone would challenge it. It may not be valid after 3 to 5 years.
Clarification, on a road improvement, we typically do 429 if we're assessing anything. Is it possible that if you communicate to residents of what that process is, well, let me ask this, can that appraisal be a cost that the residents must pay for? If it moves forward on the 420, can that be an absorbed cost in the project cost?
I don't know Nick, do you know the answer to that?
Restating the
Yeah,
question again?
absolutely. So the appraisal, can that be can that be absorbed into the project cost if it moves forward?
After the assessments have already been issued, are you saying, or?
So are you just saying every project from here on out, we just tack on $5,000?
Here's where my mind was trying to wrap around, is if we're looking at an improvement project and we notify residents of said project, can they waive, if we get like an example of how many people waive their right for the, how am I trying to think of it?
So, are you looking at something where there's language that they can waive the right to have the appraisal done?
Correct, because it will be a cost passed on to them if the project goes on, that they can choose to waive that, therefore they don't have to pay for that if they're already annoying. Throwing something to the dartboard here.
I believe the answer to that question is yes, but I'd like to also double check on that
Yeah.
and get back to you.
I mean, I think language in C certainly,
I have somebody
Hi,
approaching
Jerry.
the podium. Please announce who you are, please.
Jerry Bonsack, I'm planning
Thank you.
and zoning
Thank you,
administrator.
Jerry.
Answer to Councilman Maroney's question is yes, that can be included in the cost of the project. I think there's a difference. I think we're talking about doing an appraisal that takes one piece of property and says, this is what the benefit is. You're not doing an appraisal on every one of those pieces of property. You're looking at a sample of what
Right.
the benefit is for like properties in that neighborhood at the time. You're not looking for an individual appraisal on every piece of property that is there. If in fact you get to a point where individual properties appeal the assessment or the special benefit, you may be required to defend that by doing an appraisal on each individual property, but that won't happen unless you have an appraisal. I mean, unless you have an appeal. The reason to do the special benefit appraisal up front is to show the area or the patrons that this is the benefit. We can prove this amount of benefit. We're not assessing any more than what that amount of benefit is. So we're
Jerry,
not doing every one of those properties at that time.
am I correct in saying that they give you a range as well? It's not a number, it's a range, correct? In the benefit appraisal?
Typically, they would look at what the range goes from $500 to $1,000 or something
okay.
like that. But there's no exact science to it, but it's the best that we have at that time. It prepares you, but yes, it can be applied to the cost of the project. It's no different than engineering and financing and all those costs that get thrown into it. Hope that helps.
Thank you.
Thank
That was
you.
Jerry. Other comments?
I mean, I think it's okay as it is. I just had one, I know we talked about potentially, and that maybe this is just something that we keep in mind and look at maybe every year when we do the budget, but potentially working our way into, not assessing individual homeowners. I know we talked about that. It's not in here, and I don't know that it should be. But that's just something that I noticed we talked about last time, and it's not addressed, but it probably shouldn't be, because you want to actually know what the assessment is now and not have it so wishy-washy, but.
Am I hearing you right as far as moving towards something where there's no policy, but there's an assessment citywide?
Yeah, well, where it's, yes,
Yes.
correct, it's built into the levy.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly, built into the levy, yeah, and I would state, yes, you're correct, that you wouldn't want something like that in here. I think that's something that ultimately, yes, I think the council should continue to look at, and probably every year when we go to do the budget and looking at it, how is it and what does it look like? Because I think ultimately that might be where we want to get to eventually, and I heard that from the council when we had discussions earlier. So I think this is a starting point and gets us moving in that direction, but that's a process to be taken up and worked on as we move forward.
I think in 2026, whether we do it via surveys, mailings, a survey just to kind of, within the community, what do people think?
Yeah.
I mean, explain this is why we're heading to this, because I agree. I mean, it has merit, everybody uses the streets, but what do the taxpayers think? And survey is not that hard, online surveys, just to get a feel for what the community thinks.
Well, and to add to that, you can give them information and say, okay, this is a potential.
Yes.
Here's a hypothetical what it could look like if we went this route, and here's how it'll affect you. And you can give them that information as an educational piece. I mean, there's a lot of different ways we can work with the community and let them know, hey, this is something the council is considering. What do you think? And what is your thoughts? So I agree. I'm not opposed to that at all. I think it's a great idea. So, all right. Well, with that being said, I'm not hearing anything else. Do I have a motion to approve the special assessment policy as presented to us today?
So moved.
I have a motion from Councilmember Ball. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second from Councilmember Maroney. Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Abstentions? Motion carries. And again, you heard Administrator Pofus, this is something we can revisit. So this is not set in stone by any means. This is what we're using now, but it's been amended in the past and it can be changed again in the future. But I think this is a step in the right direction for us to get us moving where we need to go with regards to this. Be more equitable and fair to our community members. Moving on, 7E, Breezy Point Parks Ordinance. Administrator Pofus.
Yes, thank you. Staff has been made aware that the council may be interested in establishing an ordinance for public parks to establish clear rules for use and also provide the authority for the police department to enforce these rules and cite or issue citations if necessary. The council has an existing ordinance governing the public beach, which would act as a good starting point for a broader ordinance. Tonight, we're looking for direction from the council on if they want to begin drafting an all-encompassing park ordinance, or if the council wishes to continue with the current operations and patrol of the Breezy Point parks.
All right, well, I'll start us off. So yes, I can't speak for the council, but I can speak for myself. We do need to do something about our park ordinance. We need to have something put in place. I think it's changed a lot when we look at our parks from what it used to be many years ago. Again, we're looking at something that's been on the books for a long time, but we don't just have a public beach anymore. We have our park here at City Hall. We've got our disc golf course. We've got, fishing dock. We've got Four Season Trails. We've got a lot of stuff. And I think the plan is, if I'm reading our park committee right, Park and Recs committee, that they're looking at doing more things in the future, adding more amenities. So I think it's important for us to start looking at this and saying, okay, what works? What can we do? And I would say this, remember that no size fits all. And that while we try to address as many items and things as we can, we probably won't hit everything. That's just the way of it is. You never are gonna find an ordinance that covers all the bases. It won't happen. But I think we can do a good job, trying to get something in place, and I know staff, is definitely capable of putting something together and bringing it back to us. So that's my thoughts on it, is that yes, we do need to do something. Other council members?
I would 100% agree. We should have had a global ordinance years ago. That being said, we just need to move forward. The Parks and Recreation, the ordinance for the public beach needs to be tweaked, but we need to give our police department something that they can enforce. Obviously, one of the driving factors, in my opinion, has been the expansion disc golf course. It's a no-brainer to proceed with it. If Chief Sandell has input as to what, the police department's thoughts are, I mean, we don't want this ordinance that's too much. We want it focused and targeted to, what the police can enforce and not overburden them with things that really do not need to be addressed in an ordinance.
Other comments? Thoughts?
I
I
too
think it's a
don't,
good idea. I think it's a good timing too. If it was started now, there would give us a little bit of time to get something out before.
I agree.
Yeah.
Now's the time to do it, is get something so we're set for spring.
Yeah.
Yep. Councilmember Scott, you had a comment?
yeah, I mean, it's not that I disagree with the benefits of having a park ordinance. To me, it goes more towards, and this is by no means meant to point the fingers either at law enforcement from an enforcement standpoint or city staff. The realization here, I think what we've come to know to be the case with park and rec use is whether ordinance, existing policy, rules, whatever you call them, awfully difficult, if not impossible to enforce. I mean, enforcement in my mind comes to the place of actually observing somebody misusing or violating an ordinance at the time it's happening. And I'm sorry, I don't see that. It's no different than the countless times that residents are coming forward, whether they live on adjoining parkland or not, in expressing concern with conduct of people, with ongoing behavior, with the fact that we've got policy right now that says you can't drink on city property. And yet, time after time, picture after picture, alcoholic beverages in garbage cans. And, you know, I know that the council understands that I have brought up before my concern with the fact that we have been and continue to be put on notice of current city policy violations. And this council is doing nothing to address it. So again, to me, while I think anything we can do to provide more clear guardrails, if you will, in terms of how people use parkland, I would like to see us as a council take a look at and get serious about how we engage our residents, how this community gets involved in these important decisions. Let's not forget, in my opinion, a lot of the issues that we're experiencing with the disc golf course, especially the expansion, comes from the fact that residents didn't know what was happening. To me, it's a systemic issue within how councils have approached any number of things in this city. We need to do better. We need to figure out how we inform, communicate, and have a dialogue with our residents as these things are happening. I think anyone would be hard pressed to say that had we done that, had there been a level of effort and time and attention paid on the front end of a disc golf course going in people's backyards, that we would probably not be dealing with near the extent of ongoing issues that we are today. So in support of anything we can do, whether it be by ordinance or otherwise, but I honestly feel until this council takes a few steps back and says, you know what, we have requirements anytime that a private entity wants to come in and develop land in the city, why should we be exempt? We should be beholden ourselves to the same requirements in our zoning ordinances, to the same process of notifying property owners as we expect every other person that comes to the city wanting to develop land.
Any other comments?
I mean, I think Councilmember Scott brings up some good points. I mean, I think the communication piece of the city is in place. Staff has done an excellent job. You have to have an ordinance so that the police department can enforce anything. I mean, that's the first step. And you know, there's a workshop topic, you know. Is that something that want to be discussed? I think Brad brings up some good points. But the bottom line is, we need to start with an ordinance.
Administrator Polfus.
If I may, ordinances do require a public hearing.
Yep.
So that
Yep.
is just a given.
Yep, so the people will have a chance to give input. Yeah, I mean, I think the ordinance is the first step. It's kind of like, I'll use this old thing. I'll go back to when I was a kid. hated to clean my room. Where do I start, Mom? She said, just start somewhere. Okay, so this is a tough one to tackle, but the idea is that we need to start somewhere. And so I think the ordinance is the first step in that direction to put something together. So I'm kind of hearing across the board that we need to have something. I didn't hear anything from Councilmember Maroney, but I didn't hear any disagreement either, but
No, I agreed with majority of you there. It should be an ordinance across all public parcels. Right now it's clarified just as the beach, and I think, all residents should be able to, have ease of access of what those ordinances are and not have to search through the website to figure out what is allowed, what's not allowed. It's gotta be ease of access, cause right now you show up to any public facility, you don't know what the rules are. I believe the public beach does have hours posted, but I think that's the only one that does have hours posted at this point. So whatever the ordinance does follow suit with, is we need to make sure we clearly communicate not only to local residents, but those who are visiting our area, so they are well aware, and they can have access to said things. Of recent, I visited a park down near Prior Lake, and there's a QR code that I had to scan. It was a paid park that I had to be part of, but paying that also agreed to their terms and conditions, and even following that, it notified you saying citations will be granted if you did not follow suit with this. That was even beyond the first initial sign that says scan in here, sign in here, and then the next 100 feet down the line was, if you didn't sign in, citations will be. So it was double whammy that you were able to see that there's rules and regulations here that you must follow.
so, yeah, and I agree. I mean, I think you put the ordinance together, then you got communication out about it. Could be signage, could be a lot of different ways we go about putting it out there. But I agree also, easily accessible, easy to find, easy to understand, not lost in a lot of language that most people are gonna go, what are they talking about? So, yeah, I agree. Make it easy to understand, simple and straightforward. And then have the ability for our law enforcement to enforce when we see there's a violation taking place. So, so what I'm hearing, and correct me if I'm wrong, council, but I'm hearing that staff, what we'd like to see is, put your thinking hats on, get your staff together, work with law enforcement, others who are a part of it, and put together some proposals that we can start taking a look at, draft up something based on probably looking at what's in the surrounding areas as well as what you see in other parts of the state. I would encourage, don't stay local, go beyond, because I think you can learn some good things from outside communities that are doing things too, that maybe have been doing a lot more of it than that we're doing. So, put something together and then bring it back to us and we can start the process there.
Okay, hopefully you'll see it January, February would be my goal.
Sounds good. Excellent. Thank you. All right. Moving on. Number 8, departmental updates. 8A, schedule special meeting, City Administrator Popos.
Yes, thank you. We kind of touched on it earlier tonight, but we need to hold a special meeting after December 3rd to award the contract for the Bushman Road project and review the pre-sale report and call for the bonds, as Rebecca was saying. So she was mentioning December 8th. I just threw that out there to them. But we are open to any other dates. I keep it in the first half of December. So up to you guys, but just have some discussion about date and time. Should not be a very long meeting, under 30 minutes, I'd hope, 20 minutes.
Well, I'll start off by saying December 8th works for me. It's the Monday following our council meeting. So the council meeting would be on the 1st. So this would be the following Monday on the 8th. So, I'm fine with the 8th, but I don't know about the rest of the council. And if there's an alternative date, again, we need to keep it in the front half of December as well.
Works for me right now.
I'm fine with the 8th,
The 8th?
but I'll defer to the
Right,
rest of
okay.
council.
Yeah,
what
I mean,
works
I can
best.
change it too. I'm just saying what works for
Yep.
me, and I'm open to other dates too, so.
And we're talking at, after hours again at 6:30 start
Yes.
time?
Sure.
Yeah, we'll do
Whatever
it
you guys
evening.
want to call it.
We'll do an evening start time.
Okay.
I think that works better for people's schedules, work-wise, family-wise, all that. So, yes, I want to be respectful of that.
Okay.
Yeah, December 8th would work for me as well, if that works for the rest.
I'm sort of with Rebecca as far as things go now, it should work.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, we got 3 that says the 8th will work for sure and 2 possible, so we're gonna go with the 8th.
Sounds good.
Let's,
8th at 6:30, I'll send out a meeting request.
6:30 work for everybody? Council? 6:30?
30?
Okay, 6:30 is December 8th, special meeting.
Okay,
All right, then, 8B, schedule 2026 strategic planning session.
Yes.
Administrator Pofus.
thank you. We are going to put the 2026 calendar on the next agenda. As a part of that, I'd like to schedule a strategic planning meeting, kind of an early spring, late winter. I threw in there some dates that are unavailable in February. I would like to shoot for February, but we can do March as well. I just like in that first quarter of the year after January. So we can talk about dates, and I can send out a meeting request for that as well.
Well, I can tell you right now, the first 2 weeks of February work for me. The third week of February is out completely for me.
Okay?
So, but any of the dates within those first 2 weeks, so that's basically the 2nd through the 6th or the 9th through the 13th.
We could do it before the meeting. That does get to be a long day. So if we want it separate.
I want it separate.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, I think we need to have it separate and I don't want to try to cram it all in.
So,
Nobody's feeling the pressure then and we can be relaxed about it and really put some process into it if that's what we want to do, which I think is the goal. So, rest of the council.
Does it
Dates?
need to be like 3 to 4 hours, or can we do 2 meetings? Is it easier to just do one? I just don't know if I can commit to 4 hours being, but it might, things might be different in February. It's a long ways away.
I had that thought, though. I mean, if you schedule it at 6:30 and we're here to 10:30.
Right, yeah. no, I
After all
guess-
productive I'll be after.
The last hour. I
Well,
would
hey,
say-
why don't we do this? Let's do one and do a 2-hour block and then let's see where we're at after 2 hours.
if I may.
And then, yes, go ahead.
We've also scheduled them at like 4:30 to 7:30, starting earlier too, just because that's
Sometimes it gets tough for people's schedules.
true.
Kids, school,
I understand.
things like that. So we're trying, and I know that we need to
can
be
definitely do two.
conscious of that. Well, I'd say let's do this. Let's do 2. Let's do 1. Start with 1. Let's plan 1. Do 2 hours and see where we're at.
And then we can schedule.
Exactly. If we need to feel, then we can schedule another one at the end of the 2 hours and say, hey, let's get back to this at what date? Let's set it then. We'll do it then. What's the rest of the council think of that?
Not opposed, but I haven't been opposed to doing a 3 or 4 hour block as well.
I'm not
So
either. I'm just trying to be conscientious of everybody and their schedules.
I think if we could start it maybe at a 4 o'clock time frame, you know, if we started at 4 o'clock
We could go till 8 and we're done.
and then we're done, it's a one shot. I know majority of us work here. So hopefully maybe a 4 o'clock start time would not be out of the realm, but I know it may be difficult for some. During those weeks, I know Fridays are for sure out for me.
Well, let's talk about this. What days of the week? We've got days here that are out. We see that 2nd, 10th, 12th, 16th, 18th. Those are no good. The week of the 16th is completely out for me because I'll be gone the whole week. But the 2nd through the 6th, the 9th through the 13th, or the 23rd through the 27th, and now we're getting to the end of February. So I'm thinking you'd like to have it in early February if possible, correct? First half?
Yep, so I would
Okay.
say 3, 4, 5, 9, 11.
3, 4, 5, 9, and 11. So those are our dates. The 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, the 9th, or the 11th.
4 hours is a long time as well. I mean, we could wrap it up in 2. I don't know. I've never done it with this council. So it's up to you guys how long it goes.
Well, let's split the difference and do 3 hours.
That's fine by me. I've had them last
The art
1
of
and
compromise
5.
at work again. We could do 3 hours too. So let me ask the next question. So if we have let's find a date first. Let's do that. So we have the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, the 9th, and the 11th. Rebecca?
I'm gonna say a Wednesday.
Okay.
Just because I think that'll work. I have less going on Wednesday.
So the 4th or the 11th? Would
Yeah.
you prefer one or the other?
I don't think it matters right now.
Okay, all right, so we're looking at a Wednesday. Does that work for you, Brad? No, Wednesdays are bad for you, aren't they? That's right. I knew this was gonna get interesting.
What I could do, I could take those days and set out like a doodle poll,
Yep.
and you guys can
Do that.
enter your
Do that.
availability.
Do that, let's do that, cause
Okay.
it's, yeah, that's the
Otherwise,
best way, okay.
for 4
Do
hours.
that and then set some times
I can do that.
and do some times and some things, and then let's see what the majority comes up with and we'll go with that.
And I'll even do it later into November, so you guys, it can, maybe you know more by then about February.
Okay,
Okay.
everybody comfortable with that, council? She's gonna send out a little doodle poll for us and we'll come up with some stuff. Just give it your best shot and we'll
Okay.
go from there. It's always challenging to put one together, but we do need to have one, so.
Okay.
All right, and then, we just had the, police department summary was there. Was there anything of significance, chief, that you want to highlight in your report?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head.
Okay. Sometimes, there's something there that's, whoa, maybe you wanna let the council know about, but I didn't see anything, but,
Nothing crazy.
okay, sounds good, that's good, we don't like crazy.
Me either.
All right, I have one more thing, it's not on the agenda, but I'm gonna give a brief update on the joint powers met on the 13th of October. And so there wasn't a lot of stuff that was covered. The updates, the two trucks, so the 350 skid unit, that one is, in use. And so they're using it already. It's working out really well. They're very happy with it. And the 550, that's their new rescue truck. So the 550 is the new rescue truck. That's the one that took a little longer to get done, but it looks like they're going to have that one in use by December. So Chief Schwankel actually got a call from him and said, "Hey, we got the stuff. Can you come to Iowa today?" He says, "Yeah, I think I can do it." So he drove clear to Iowa with the truck, got it down there so they could fit it. And then on the way back, he says, "Well, hey, the guy at the lights has got it, so we'll swing in there." And he did the lights. So Chief has gone out of his way to make that happen. So that's going good. They've been working on a severe windstorm exercise. Very interesting. They're working with the Breezy Point Police Department, and some other entities, Crow Wing County Risk Management, about this. It's like a wind event. So if you think of what happened in Bemidji this summer, they actually did a tabletop version of that, meaning they kind of did a simulation. And they're actually looking at the fall of 2026 to do the actual exercise in Breezy Point. So a lot of great things going on in that. So that would be like how would they handle it? How's the response to it? How do we deal with it? How does the fire district respond? How does the police departments respond? How does risk management, Crow Wing County handle it? So I think that's a great thing that they're working on. And it's, when you see what happened in Bemidji this summer, that's a possibility here. We never want to think about it, but it is, okay? Because we live with a lot of trees around us. So, so they were working on that. I thought that was really neat. And then they did a golf scramble fundraiser, and this was the Relief Association did this, but they raised about 15,000. They had 72. I think they had 72 teams. No, they had 36 teams this year, but they're looking to go 72 teams next year, full day. So if any of you like to golf and you want to help support the local fire district, see Chief Schwankel and see about getting a team. He said they had a lot of fun, really enjoyed it. It was a good time. And they raised some money. And then, let's see, what else? They got a $10,000 grant, was a joint Compeer financial grant. It was applied for and received together with the Cross Lake Fire Department to replace all their rope rescue equipment. So the rope rescue equipment was getting dated, and they felt like they needed to get it updated, so they wrote a grant with Cross Lake, and they got $10,000 that'll be applied towards that, so they're getting new rope rescue equipment. I think that was it. They are looking at some Sourcewell Public Safety match funds. It's a grant. They have to match, I believe, 20%, and they're looking for using it for turnout gear. So new pants and that kind of stuff, updating to have backups. So they need to have backups in case something happens. So they're looking at, it's a $52,000 grant. That's what it is. and they're matching, there's a match, so they're working on that too. So, I don't know, did I miss anything, Councilmember Ball?
No, I don't think so.
I think I covered most of it, so, yeah. All right. And then just FYI, the chair will transfer at the end of this year, back to Pequot. So Mayor Gardner will then become the chair of the Joint Powers. It rotates every year, so. All right, so that's all I have. All right, with that, I'm to number 9, adjourn. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
I have a motion from Councilmember Maroney. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilmember Jensen. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned at 7:50 PM.